Welcome back, everyone, to episode 14, season 2, episode 4 of the They Fly Now Show podcast. As you can see, Hereth's camera's not going to be on today. He is feeling a bit under the weather, so hopefully Hereth gets better. He's still here, though.
I am.
But today we're going to be talking about Darth Maul and the Sith took everything from him. It's going to be an awesome show. We have some amazing creators, and yeah, let's just get right into it.
They fly now! They fly now!
And we're live.
All right. Welcome, everyone. We have 3 amazing creators today. And just to kind of start everything off and talking about Maul, who are you? How did you get into Star Wars animation specifically? And what version of Maul are you currently? In your current state of yourself, what version of Maul are you? Let's go Ashlyn first.
Okay. Hi guys, I'm Ashlyn. How did I get into Star Wars animation? I started when I was really little. My dad kind of introduced the whole Star Wars fandom to me, and I kind of took a break from Star Wars, and then I finally got back into it. It was great. I got all nerdy out. And currently, I'd have to say my Darth Maul is Ruler of Mandalore, Darth Maul.
Yes.
The whole leaning on the throne.
And where can we find you?
You can find me on TikTok at Ashiko.
Awesome. And Bale. Same questions
Hello.
to you.
So, I'm Grandmaster Bale, or Bale, depends on whichever one is easier to say. What were the questions again?
How did you get into Star Wars animation?
Sorry,
and
yeah.
what version of Maul are you currently? And this goes
So-
out to the chat too, so whatever version of Maul you guys are, comment down below.
So, in terms of Star Wars animation, I actually didn't get into it until about during the lockdown last year, because after all the hype with Mandalorian, I knew the background of Ahsoka. And as a kid, I watched the Clone Wars movie. I never watched the Clone Wars. I never knew it was a series. So I flat out just didn't watch it. And then last year, I went through all of it. I watched all of it. As you can see by the rather fully stacked bookshelf there, I got it quite into it. And I've been watching and going through books and everything ever since. Really, I've loved it. In terms of what Maul I am today, I'm the one with the dark saber. I'm feeling myself, and I'm about to whip Sidious's ass. To be honest,
We
yeah.
saw how that
Sir.
turned out, though.
It's still over, Malik. I'll do it.
And Malik, same thing to you.
Hi, yes, I'm Malik. You can find me on TikTok at the Jedi Smark, or on my podcast. It's a podcast, wherever you get your podcast.
It's a
Spotify, Audible,
Great
all that stuff.
podcast.
Yes, and he's only saying that because I plugged it. So take that with a grain of salt. I plugged his podcast. Yeah, you guys got me for a second time of my free will. Yes. How did I get into Star Wars animation? I was just always into Star Wars. Like, since I was young, like 5th grade, I did a talent show. I did a lightsaber duel. And I remember watching Tartakovsky's Clone Wars and loving it because it was just so cool. I watched Samurai Jack's Kid, and then that showed up in the same animation. Like, this is awesome. Then I had nothing for a little while. Then 2008 hit, and I became a menace because that's when Clone Wars premiered. And I was watching Clone Wars since day one, and oof, what a ride it's been. I remember coming to school talking like, did you see that Anakin had touched, like he saw Darth Vader? It was insane being in middle school and talking to friends.
Then everyone's just looking at you.
Yeah, it's
saying
like
that to watch it,
no,
and
but I
everyone
had
just
a
looked
group.
at
We
you
all
like,
we freaked out. It's like, bro, like the old man touched the lightsaber. It's like, oh, it was insane. And which Maul I am. I not gonna lie, had a bit of stress. You know when Maul, when he's like a spider, he's all like, oh, he's like, yeah, I'm that Maul right now. A little wired, a little like I've got a lot of energy and I don't want it.
just a bit,
Just
so
a bit much.
basically, Maul right when he got found.
Yeah.
Savage. And then Hereth, same question to you. How'd you get into Star Wars animation? Because we normally don't answer these, but I feel like that's like a
Yeah.
kind of a new one.
So how I got into Star Wars animation was basically I saw the Clone Wars movie as a kid in theaters actually, because remember there was that temporary time where it was in theaters. I watched like the first season of Clone Wars. It really didn't like strike with me or sit with me because I don't remember why. It just never did. Then around 2016, 2017, around the hype of The Last Jedi, I heard rumors about something about Mortis and like how it's going to be a big factor. You need to pay attention to Clone Wars to understand what's going on in Last Jedi. So I was like, okay, I'm going to watch Clone Wars. At the time it was on Netflix. I watched season 1 through 6 and I've been hooked ever since.
It's pretty good. And mine was, so I watched Clone Wars a little bit growing up, but then over quarantine I watched the Clone Wars, and then what really got me into it was I got done with the Clone Wars, and one day I was like, you know what? I've heard a lot of bad things about this show, but let's try to watch Rebels, all right? And I watched the first episode, and I was like, why is everyone mad at this show? It's like this thing's amazing. Like, what? So I kept watching it, and then Star Wars animation was like, I was like, yeah, this is awesome. And I'm currently watching Through Resistance.
Hey.
Have any of you guys watched it?
I just finished.
Malik,
the
I know
first
you're
season.
working through it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just finished like, the third episode or something.
I've
Do
been
you
pushed off
recommend
of it.
I like it so far. I
Yeah,
don't think it's pretty good.
Same. Like it starts off very slapsticky, very kiddie, but it does get better, and it really comes into its own in that season finale of the first one. Like, oh, I'm like, oh wow, this is like actually like really cool storytelling, and actually like kind of complex when you look at it.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out then. That sounds cool.
It's
Well,
literally like you can see more like sequel era stuff too. So it's like, oh, cool, like that gang from the Force Awakens or like
Mhm.
stuff like that. It's cool to see, you know, more of I've expanded on.
I mean, I've been going through all the sequel content recently. I did one of the novelizations between Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, the
That's,
Resistance Rising.
Yeah.
Right, Reborn Rising, one of the two. And then the Rise of Skywalker novelization, so I'm definitely going to check that out when I can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, I'm at a part where it's like pod racing, but it's not pod racing.
Now this
Yeah,
is
this
kind
is
of pod
no
racing.
Beat me to it, Bale.
This is kind of pod
This is
racing.
sort of
All right.
racing.
Also, shout out to some people in the chat. Thank you guys all for joining us. Pod One's podcast and Charlie Johnson at CharCharJ on TikTok. Shout out to you guys. Great show. Brian with the beard, Ace Bronx, Aiden's Talk Star Wars topics, X-Core Gamer Skills over at Conspiracy Cantina. Thank you guys all for joining us, and many more who just haven't commented. So yeah, thank you guys all for joining us. And real quick, our weekly plug to Hereth Ray with the graphic,
Yep.
the Far Far Away Factory, Brooke. So shout out to her. I actually ordered some stuff, so I have it here. I'm gonna open it. Well, not open it because I already opened it on stream. So first off, she put this little Resistance like wax stamp logo thing on it,
Sick.
which
That's
is
cool.
like, I was like, oh, this is awesome. So you open it
Authentic.
up, and we got this
Oh,
little postcard, Far Far Away
Oh my
Factory,
god.
with a nice little message from Brooke, and then this Far Far Away Factory sticker, and then I got these awesome stickers. I got one here.
That's sick. Little BD1.
and Rex. So I'm not sure when I'm gonna put them on yet, but they're awesome. So shout out to Brooke.
It's like
Okay,
this
let's
the
get
stuff
into
Brooks
it.
makes is like unreal. Like, gee.
Yeah.
It is, and you can get custom
I need to check
shoes,
it out.
custom anything. She's amazing. So yeah, let's just get into Maul because there's a good amount to talk about.
For sure.
But before we talk about Maul, we're gonna talk about the Greek mythology story of Sisyphus. So we're gonna do a little bit of a story time. We haven't really done this yet on the pod, but we're just gonna have a little bit of a story time. So
I'm
get your pillows and blankets and.
so glad I looked this up before the podcast. I googled Freddie Prinze Jr. talking about it, and I heard him say that. I'm like, ooh, okay,
Yeah.
make a note of that.
So I'm just gonna read this right off Schmoop. I'm not gonna act like I wrote this because I didn't. So I'm just gonna read. It's just a couple paragraph summary of the story. Sisyphus is super smart, but super evil too. He does all kinds of bad stuff, like impregnate his niece in a plot to kill his brother. Some say he also kills guests and travelers. He even betrays the secrets of the gods. As a punishment for his crimes, Zeus and Thanatos, the god of death, to change Sisyphus down to Tartarus, I don't know. Sisyphus outsmarts the Thanos, though, and he leaves the death god chained instead. So he's basically in the underworld, and then he somehow tricked him and got the god chained to the underworld. When Sisyphus is eventually put back in the underworld after he gets captured again, he escapes again by convincing Persephone to let him go back up and punish his wife for not giving them a proper burial. Eventually, Zeus steps in and gets Hermes to drag Sisyphus down to the underworld for good. As punishment for his crime, Sisyphus must push a giant boulder up a hill for all eternity. And what happens, he pushes the boulder up the hill, and then right when he gets to the top, the boulder falls back down, and he has to push it the whole way up again. Which is a lot like Maul, as I'm sure we will mention going forward. So, Hereth, if you want to take it away, just talking about Maul and Phantom Menace. So we're just going to kind of talk about it in chronological order.
Yeah. Chronologically, going from the Phantom Menace, I know there are a Marvel comic run in 2017 that took place before the Phantom Menace, but I feel like a good starting place for Maul's character arc is in the Phantom Menace itself. We see a very different version of the character compared to the one we see in Clone Wars, so I feel like it's necessary to ask, how did you feel about the Phantom Menace's depiction of Maul after you saw the version of Maul in Clone Wars? How did you feel he would act in Clone Wars if he did return?
Well, like, the main thing I saw about Phantom Menace Maul was just kind of the action. So when it came to him returning in the Clone Wars, I kind of just thought he'd just be basically just running around with a double-bladed lightsaber, killing anyone in his way, pretty much, which is kind of similar to what we got, like, in that respect.
Yeah, for sure. And I thought, like...
Question just kind of all of you guys.
Yeah.
But keep going, sorry.
Yeah, no, I thought we were gonna take like turns or something, like going like going, like you go bail first, and like if Ash wanted to go.
Yeah,
after that.
Yeah, let's just do that. So Malik, if you want to go next.
Oh, okay. But so it's like how we viewed Maul before we saw him in Clone Wars, or like after.
After.
Okay, so when we first saw Maul, and like around the time, like that was like the big like rumor on the playground that Maul would come back with robot legs, and you know, as a kid you thought, all right, yeah, maybe, but no. So when it actually happened in Clone Wars, it like I had an out of body experience. It was insane. So Maul, like looking at Maul in Phantom Menace, it's very like, I don't know, like it like I used to be very like on him because Maul was just there because he looked cool, but now we're knowing where that leads. Like I've softened to Phantom Menace as a movie in general because of all the ancillary content, but like looking at like where Maul falling down that shaft leads to, it gets me goosebumps. It gets me more hype, like ooh, like so much more is added to, you know, like the cockiness of him like slash the shaft. It's like, oh, like it's gonna matter later on. That dude's gonna fight Ahsoka.
Yeah.
No, piggybacking up on what Malik said, Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I definitely think how you said he was there in the Phantom Menace to look cool. I think I liked him a lot in the Phantom Menace because he looked cool, you know?
Yeah, like that's it. Yeah.
Like, when I was little, I remember watching that movie for the first time and being like, 2 lightsabers on 1 stick, like, you know?
Exactly. Having
but
the line
definitely
up for the little plastic flick out ones. I don't know if you remember them,
Yeah.
like the 2 ones. That was the
Yeah.
biggest marketing move they could have ever made for that film, just having 2 of them.
You
No,
found
definitely.
if you found a double long stick at recess, like ooh,
We like go in your
Oh.
back. Like I don't know if this was just me, if I was just like a weird kid. But I'd like go in my backyard and get like big sticks and pretend that I was like a Jedi. Get, like,
what I see,
super
what I
long
did was
stick.
we got the markers. We would like stick them together for the colors,
Yes.
and you would go like
Yes.
like I am a Jedi, and then it would immediately break apart because they're markers.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
Maul. I remember like this was probably in 2012ish. I was still like a really young kid. I don't think Maul at the time was back in Clone Wars, and I was scrolling through eBay, and my dad, because I we used to kind of just like collect little Star Wars figures, like a little hobby, not like too serious, but like I would just play with them and stuff. And we found this Maul, and his shirt's off, and he's like ripped, and his like tunic is like kind of ripped. And I was like, I need that. He looks so awesome. If I had the figure, I would show you, but unfortunately, it's like in my closet,
Like,
buried away in a million things.
speaking about with Maul, like in the from when we were kids, I remember when I watched the film, I absolutely adored him just going in with the 2 lightsabers, being really cool. I think that was kind of the main thing that got everyone hyped back in the day with the trailer. And
Yeah.
I remember actually, in terms of his return, I never like when I saw it when I eventually watched like all the canon stuff, because as a kid, I don't know who must have told me. I think there were some EU or Legends fans that someone, because they were just like, oh yeah, he survived. I'm like, did he? And I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. So I was
I'm
just kind of
not-
expecting it throughout.
I'm not too certain this. I think there was. I don't quote me on this entirely, but I think there was a Legends comic where like Maul is like crawling through Tatooine and like with no legs, and
Okay.
he like assaults the Lars homestead, and Obi-Wan
Yeah.
like pulls him to the sand. It was Legends was insane.
Yeah, Legends.
I'm
know-
not entirely sure about that though.
I know there's like a lot of stuff like that in Legends, so I'm fairly sure that's where I pulled it from, because it was before Clone Wars and all of that. So I'm like, there's no other place it would have come from.
Yeah. Also, did you guys know that you could buy? So there's like a bunch of weird marketing techniques that Lucasfilm was doing before Phantom Menace. Like there's like a lollipop that was Jar Jar's mouth.
Yeah.
You guys know what I'm talking about? It's like his mouth like opens up and his tongue sticks out, and that's the lollipop.
Oh god!
Like what little kid would want to eat that?
Latex Jar Jar Binks
It's kind of
masks as well.
bizarre.
Oh, gosh.
See, I remember the
People show up to the theaters.
See, I remember the Burger King toys because they were like
God.
big head versions of them, because it was like you had Amidala, whose head was already big enough from the headdress, so it was just this like little Amidala that like shined a light, and then like I just wanted Maul so bad, like he was the cool like devil man with lightsabers. But I remember they had that, and they also had the Barbie dolls of Amidala as well, because that was like a big thing. They were trying to like market Star Wars more to girls at the time.
I thought you were going to say there's a Barbie doll of Maul. I'm like, where's the hair?
No, I wasn't there.
There is no hair.
It's just horns.
There is no hair.
I was about to say, what
But,
accessories
so-
are it going to come with?
But
Detachable
in this
body.
weird market,
Yeah,
And just like
but
this,
in
he
weird
separates in
marketing
two.
technique,
Oh my god.
but so they would they made this. I'm sure maybe you guys have seen it. There's like a blow up chair.
Oh, I've
It's
seen
like,
this.
so, like you know, like the wraps. you
Oh,
sit in,
yeah.
and it's Maul, and you like sit in his arms. What were
Just
they
chilling in the
thinking?
pool of Maul's lap.
Yeah, no, I forget. there's some creator who has it. I'm like,
Oh, is that the guy that had to blow up N1 Starfighter as well? I think I've seen it.
maybe. Yeah, like there's like multiple people that just have this thing. I'm like, it's
Oh
cool,
god.
but you're like giving Mo a lap dance every time you sit down.
Oh my gosh.
In
As
the
an adult,
pool.
also, how do you buy that? How do you walk into a store and say, yes, I would like this blow up Darth Maul floaty where I can sit on his lap in the pool?
Did you see? No, remember, like it was like when Force Awakens came out and they like released all their toys and stuff like that. It was chaos. Like people would do that without shame.
I guess the hype with Maul as well, like, because I remember watching the Force Awakens trailer back in like when I was a kid as well. Because I think I was around. I'm trying to actually. I would say the year, but I don't think it translates well with American years. So we have like years rather than grades. But I remember I saw like this,
cool,
the scene at the end where it just goes and it has the crackling crossguard. I freaked the hell out. And literally my desktop wallpaper on our family computer was that for like a week. I couldn't get enough of it.
That is awesome. All right. So does anyone have anything else to say about Phantom Menace Maul? There's not too much to talk about there besides he looks
There was
cool.
like a couple things that were kind of said but not really ever touched upon to that much of an extent other than like in the comics, and that was more to do with his past with the Jedi. So I think you can kind of infer that there's some history there from. I think it's a scene with. I think it's on Coruscant where he's on the balcony with Palpatine. At last, we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last, we will have our revenge.
Yeah.
Which adds like a little bit extra to that Phantom Menace fight of going, okay, this is a personal revenge story here. And I'll be honest. I think the Maul 2017 comic covers the Jedi thing. But like, I thought that was quite a good way to have it as kind of this big mystery of motives and that.
I read the first 2 issues, and there is like I haven't finished it though, but like Maul is hunting a Jedi.
Yeah, I
for
think
some reason.
I think I've read it at some point.
Of all people too.
Oh yes, it's
Okay.
come back to me now. It's he goes after hunting a Jedi against Sidious's wishes. I think something along the lines.
Okay.
But other than that, with Phantom Menace Maul, there's
Well,
just not really that much to unpack.
Well, I feel like a lot when he says like revenge, I think that could also be implied of the hundreds of years that the Jedi have ruled during. Like, you could say the
Yeah,
High
I
Republic
think-
era. That's kind of like their revenge.
Yes. Thinking on it, I think
Extinction
it
the
was in the 2017 comic run because I honestly, it's just all flocked back to me in a storm. I probably read it at like gone midnight one night, but I think it was Malachor. It got brought back to there again. I think it was something that happened there,
Okay.
although the specifics of which I can't really remember.
You
But
know,
it was
it's
something that
yeah.
drew the hate onto the Jedi, which I thought was really interesting.
a Maul bit that always gets me from the Phantom Menace is the fact that it probably adds a little bit more personality to him as a villain is how he was just gonna straight up just run over Anakin.
Yes.
On
He's a
that
9-year-old
thing. He's
boy
like,
running in the
one gun
desert.
had to yell duck. That would have been it. He literally like could have. It's
Anakin,
like
duck.
there's like a bunch of like wide open desert, and Maul's like specifically revving up towards the child. Like that's very telling of who Maul is.
I'd like to just see an edit of him just not saying Anakin Duck and just the slow speed up and then just all of a sudden.
No, there is an edit for that. I was gonna say there's an
Is there really?
actual
I've gotta
edit
see it, I've
somewhere
gotta see it.
where he like runs him over and then it's da 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 da.
Thinking more. Oh, sorry, Malik. I don't want to. interrupt.
No, like you're good.
I was going to go on to a more unrelated point, so by all means, go continue.
Like I was thinking, it's fascinating too that like Maul, while not being that much of a character, is in a very important character like moment in the Duel of Fate. It's literally the duel for the fate of
Yeah.
Anakin. And
Yeah.
whoever wins this fight decides who Anakin's master is. And to think that like Maul had this opportunity to really like influence Anakin's fate is a beautiful sense of irony where he again, well, when we get to in Clone Wars, tries to like alter the fate there, but it's too late for him to do it. You know, he missed the
Yeah.
opportunity on Naboo.
And ultimately, it's good to see that how that one moment, and this is more kind of speaking of the Phantom Menace duel of fates broadly rather than specifically just on Maul, about how much of a ricochet effect. Like if Maul messed up that one thing, or maybe like Qui-Gon survived or Obi-Wan survived. Oh, obviously Obi-Wan did survive. If Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan survived, how much of like a catastrophic event that would have, and also how integral Maul is to the story of Star Wars and the victory of the Sith. I think that's kind of something that's all often overshadowed in Star Wars.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And that's like a lot of things as far as just that big rippling effect, but that's definitely one of the main ones. And as we were saying earlier about Sisyphus, he just like Sisyphus, he has the boulder to the top of the mountain. Maul has Obi-Wan. He just killed Qui-Gon. He has Obi-Wan literally hanging by threads. And then what happens? The boulder comes tumbling right back down. Maul gets chopped in half, and
then he just crawls back up again.
Yep, he starts to crawl back up.
The CGI has not held up though for when he falls down.
It has not. If you look at it again, his face is like when he's falling down. It's just solid. It's hilarious. But I just recalled something else. So again, when you look at it, you get your first great parallel of Jedi and Sith tactics. So when you get the scene where they're kind of, when they're going into that last chamber where Qui-Gon gets killed, and you have that moment where Qui-Gon's meditating in battle, and you just have Maul on the other side seething, staring at him and glaring at him. I think that's the one of the greatest moments where we get that real difference between Jedi and Sith, because whilst we do get some of that in the original trilogy, I think to see the kind of anger on the face, we don't get that with Vader. We get that like Maul is fuming, like he's ready to wipe the floor with whoever walks in, and I think that's a really cool parallel to have.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Harry.
No.
I was going to ask if Ash had anything to add, because I feel like we were kind of like rambling over.
Yeah,
really bad.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm totally listening. Anything to add? I really liked your comparison of the Duel of the Fates and how Maul ended up luring back Anakin in the Clone Wars. It's like he could have easily completely changed the trilogies, like the whole plot of the trilogies, if he had just killed Obi-Wan or killed Anakin, honestly, running him over.
He wasn't being arrogant and just.
No, yeah, definitely.
For sure.
I'm gonna post that just without context, Maul, just Maul in front of Anakin on the speeder bike.
That would be a great profile picture.
Yeah.
Thinking about it, what if he just swooped around, just nicked Anakin and just went off? That would just have been an entirely different.
Sidious, we have a boy now.
Handbrake turn, swoop, grab. Don't need to worry about the chosen one prophecy anymore, Master.
During Siege of Mandalore, Maul is just dreaming about him running over Anakin over and over and over again. He's like, damn it, I should have done that.
That was actually his plan in the Siege of Mandalore. He was going to lure him out of the shuttle, then go back on that same speeder and just try and flat him again.
What were you gonna say, Asher?
Sorry, I didn't mean to shadow.
No, it's okay. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say I wonder if Maul knew who Anakin was. Like, did he know that was Anakin as a boy?
I mean,
oh, that's a good question.
It's a really good question. Now I think about it.
I just thought about it.
Because the way Maul's always been portrayed to me is like a brute. He wouldn't ask about that kind of thing, if that makes sense.
No, definitely.
But I don't know.
Hear Qui-Gon scream Anakin duck, and he.
True.
I mean, I would say.
I think
I
Maul
would say probably.
I would
it's
say
hard to tell.
I would say I think he would recognize that Anakin is somewhat important to them, or has some value, because I think Maul knows they came to this planet to Tatooine, they came to Tatooine, and now they're leaving with this boy. There's got to be some kind of
something's off there.
Yeah.
Or to be honest,
sense.
I mean, let's be honest. He's a Sith. I don't think he really cares what's in the front of his speeder. In all honesty, I think he'll just plow through him regardless. He was like, you know what? I can't be bothered. I have to move my steering wheel, mate. If you were just come on, you're making it difficult for me here.
Hereth, do you have anything to add before we?
No. The only thing I was gonna add was when Bale was talking about the scene where Maul, Obi-Wan, and Qui-Gon are in the little like chamber before the final fight. I love how Maul isn't just staring at Qui-Gon. I love how he's pacing back and forth, just trying to like get himself up, and then Obi-Wan's like
Gritting his teeth. He's gritting his teeth as well.
yeah, and Obi-Wan.
He's just full on.
He looks like a lion.
He's literally like a rabid animal. It's mad.
He looks like just like a lion, like a lion just ready to pounce on his prey, and he's like, he like hits his lightsaber to the
Oh, the ray is it the ray shield or
thing,
something?
the-
Yeah, something like that.
yeah, the ray shield. He like knocks it a few times. He's like,
He's grinding
one-
it.
smash you.
There's one bit that Maul does in Phantom Menace. This is my last one in Phantom Menace Maul, but like that gives me so much serotonin. It's when the fight first starts. He does like the flip, then he opens the door by doing the like throwing the thing at the switch. I love that motion
Oh yeah,
so much because it just looks so cool. Like, the flip. And then just like opens the door. I'm like, dude. Ugh.
In terms of like the cool dueling moments, I think you've all seen it. That bit where Obi-Wan finally gets let through the gate, and then just the speed of
Oh,
Ewan McGregor
God,
and Ray
yeah.
Park just
Yes.
going
Yeah.
at it. It's
Dude, I love that
amazing.
scene.
It's great.
For
He
me,
does,
it's
like,
the
I think it's-
up, down, and the behind. Like, oh.
Yeah.
the behind's the best one. It's like,
I think they had to slow it down. I think I saw like a
Yeah.
behind the scenes thing that they actually had to
I
slow
saw
down
that.
that clip to put it in. I'm like, how
I'm not sure if
bloody
it's
quick
true
was
or
he
not.
going? No, maybe not. I think I saw Ewan McGregor saying it in an interview of Phantom Menace, but you need to fact check me on that.
yeah. All right. So, as we were saying, because I think we kind of talked about everything Maul in Phantom Menace. So like we were saying about Sisyphus, he pushes the boulder up and then it gets fall back down, and then Maul. We hear rumors of Savage's brother in early season 4 of Clone Wars, I believe, right? And then end of season 4 is whenever Maul actually makes his return, and
I think it was actually like a
This is
season
four?
apart.
Season
I think it
3.
was season. It's
yeah,
like
it's
mid-season
a whole
3.
season. Is it 3? Okay.
It was like mid-season
Yeah, with
3, and I think
everything,
they
yeah.
had that introduced, and then like they finished it like late
Yeah.
season 4, out of like the
Yeah.
ending arc. I can't remember. I think it's something
Yeah.
around that.
Can we also just like
Yeah, I
for a
think
moment
that's
just
right.
laugh at like Night Brother names? Feral, Savage, Maul. Who's next? Eviscerate, Kilgore.
That's awesome.
Oh,
But
dear.
so we hear this rumor and everyone's like, "Oh crap, is Maul returning?" And then I think we see like his face kind of like
Yeah.
in some weird
Yeah.
thing that Mother Talzin's doing, and then we're like, "Oh, he's coming back." And he starts to push that boulder right back up the hill again. So what were your guys' initial reactions / opinions of Maul's return? And let's go to Ashlyn first.
Okay, Maul's return. Okay, I'm trying to remember like my initial reaction because I watched Clone Wars for the first time like 2 summers ago because I didn't ever watch the show when I was little. Honestly, it was shock. Like I was not expecting it, and I feel like in the Clone Wars, a lot of characters you think are gone return a lot throughout the show, and so seeing Maul again was definitely really cool, and seeing him all like loopy and crazy, and even seeing Savage was really cool because I was like, that's super cool. Like I didn't know about Dathomir. I didn't know about like I just recently learned that he's not Dathomirian. He's actually Zabrak. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool seeing like other species, I guess, of him.
Yeah, I mean, going back to that point about Insane Maul, I absolutely, the appreciation I have for Sam Witwer's commitment on that front. My God, he voice acts that terrifically, like the insanity. I don't know if any of you have seen the behind the scenes in the voice booth,
Yeah.
but it's incredible.
Oh.
It's definitely worth a watch.
Imagine
Man,
being that
like,
handsome and that
that's
talented.
insane.
Like God, I can't imagine.
Oh God.
Yeah, like I remember seeing the trailer and seeing the Night Brothers in there. I'm going like, that's small species. What's going on here? And then it ends, and he's like, "You have a brother. He is alive." And it shows Maul's face. I crapped all the bricks. I was like, "No, they're actually doing it." they're actually doing. And I started thinking, like, how do you? And like, it was so weird. 'Cause I'm like, well, like, because like, I love when I don't know where Star Wars is going. I love when Star Wars is like unrecognizable, or like I don't know what it is. I genuinely had no clue how like Star Wars works going forward now that Maul's alive again. And I'm like, what do you do? Like how? Like it's like, you know, you can't be around during the the rebellion time because that would be a problem. And you know, we'll get to that eventually. But it's just like, what? It's just like, what do you do? Like, I was just so it was so great. I was so excited for like Star Wars going forward because I'm like, dude, like this opens up like so many new avenues and stories to tell. And sure enough, we got some pretty dope stuff.
And like that's the thing. It corrects like I think probably the big error with the prequels of having that 2 year gap where there's all of a sudden a war going on and we're like, oh, okay.
It's like 3.5 years, isn't it?
Is it 3.5? Okay, my correction. Your correction is.
I'm not too sure about this. Like I heard 3.5 years. Again, don't take my correction. Like,
Yeah.
oh, gosh, I'm an idiot. Don't trust me like all the way. Right? This is just what I've heard.
We'll call it in the middle. We'll call it 3.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
This also, like, Maul's return also introduces this thing that could sometimes get, I think, abused in like the Star Wars fan base, which is if you don't see them die, they're not actually dead. Which then
Yeah.
Mace Windu, blah blah blah.
Sorry,
but like,
what?
okay,
I mean,
no.
Sorry, what?
But so that kind of introduces that whole idea.
I mean, yeah. I mean, to be fair, like I think certain cases are different though. Like with Mace Windu, he's dead. He's like
So-
he's
We
written
don't
in.
know that
Yeah.
though, do we?
There's like a difference in how it's recorded in like books because like it says deceased and then it's like thought to be dead. Like it's
So-
two kind of different things. I don't see him coming back, but that's just me.
Question, Carter. So would you say that started with Maul, or would you say that started with Boba Fett?
Well,
That's a
Oh.
good question. That's a really good question.
Boba Fett returned in Legends, but he never
Well-
actually returned in canon.
Oh, you mean like in
until
because
Mando.
like it was still like I would say still that like it was still like a big deal that a lot of the fan base knew that Fett was alive and like was in like the like in all the
True.
books and stuff like that. So it
What
was kind of
was-
a big thing with him.
Yeah.
What was the name of the
Yeah.
series that Boba Fett was introduced in? Because it wasn't just Empire, was it? There was another thing. Was it anime?
Well, he was in the
The holiday
he was in,
special.
what's it called?
Yeah.
The
It was
holiday
the holiday
special.
special.
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was like the
Like,
faithful.
he had like the cool armor.
He looked really similar to Din, I think, in
Yeah.
the one I'm thinking of, but I don't know if I'm thinking of the
Yeah.
wrong one. But like, yeah, I think that was probably I'd arguably say Boba Fett sparked it more because whenever I used to be
True.
obsessed with the OT when I was a kid, and every time we're like, no, he's not dead, and then I'd have a fight with some other kid going, he's dead. I'm like, no, he's not. He's alive. He's got a jetpack.
Robot Chicken did a skit about like Boba surviving the Endor. Like Boba surviving was a big deal.
There's some sweet, like, I remember I read, there's like a Boba Fett comic, and he got a lightsaber
Oh
and
god.
fights Vader in a Legends comic, and you're like, Boba Fett's already sweet enough, and I holy crap. But yeah, going back,
Sorry, I was going to say, I
Anything
think
else
that's
to
why
add?
most people thought he's not going to die to a Sarlacc.
yeah.
No, sorry, didn't mean to cut you
But
off.
yeah, going back. No, you're good. Going back to Maul. So kind of after Maul returns, he just goes on this tear. Him and Savage just go on this straight tear of the criminal underworld. They're taking over every single thing by whether it's by
I think. Well, like I think we skipped over a little
peaceful
bit.
measures or. Oh wait, sorry.
Yeah, I think we're skipping over it because at first they go to the village to draw
Yes.
Obi-Wan first.
Yes.
And that's
Yeah.
like arguably one of Clone Wars' like darkest moments. I
Oh
was like-
yes.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, because like literally like it's almost like a mirror of the scene with Anchor. It's all like he has that Maul has that one of my favorite lines where he goes like, only one thing will draw out a hero, slaughter of the innocents, and you just see the lightsaber ignite and the kids running to the shot. I'm like, Cartoon Network, what?
It's like one of those. Have you seen the compilations like the Clone Wars is a kids show, and it just shows is Mr. Blue Sky. It's just like dun dun dun
All the
dun.
war crime.
Exactly.
they get,
Oh, good.
yeah, Savage and Maul, they fight Obi-Wan and Ventress actually, because Ventress also shows up too.
Yeah, that was cool. I love that.
Yes.
We love
Well, who's
Ventress.
Jedi? Yes, we love Ventress here.
Stand.
Who is what's the name of the Jedi that gets killed by Savage while Obi-Wan and Maul are dueling?
Adigalia.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Adigalia.
Right,
In that
let's
fight,
look at
I
my
love
mind.
how after she died, Obi-Wan just went. Like, fine, I'll do it myself. Just held off both of them tremendously
I
well. I
know.
think it was that fight where he cut off Savage's hand, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then he
Yeah.
forced Maul and Savage to take the defensive, which is pretty impressive.
You're leaving out my boy, Hondo, who was a
to be
big
fair.
help in that episode.
Yeah,
I
that's
can't-
all.
Come on.
Yeah, that's kind
I
of what I
can't
was getting
forget.
to with all of the criminal stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he
Yeah, sorry. No, sorry.
taking over everything. And he barely escapes that fight because a bunch of boulders come down and basically save him, right?
I
Is that not how
think
the
he
fight
like
ends,
pulls
where
the
they get
ship
separated
down
in
and
a
like
cave
covers
with
escape or something
boulders?
like that.
Yeah,
For
Yes.
sure.
yeah. Yep, you're right.
Was that the one where he ended
their
up in
first-
space?
Their first move
Yep.
is
Sorry.
yes, and then they're like freezing, whatever.
Mm.
So
Can we say the one Hondo
So-
line? It's like, you're insolent, like we're pirates. We don't even know what that means.
Star Wars Captain
Thanks,
Jack
Jack.
Sparrow. Nothing can change my mind.
but then he's like,
Oh yes, I love
also-
that.
yes. Well, also in
Oh.
that episode, he's like, Hondo goes, he's like, they betrayed me. I've taught them well, or something.
I'm so
Whatever.
proud of them.
He's like, I'm so proud of them. They betrayed me. Yeah,
Oh,
my
God.
gosh, Hondo. But that's
He's
kind of
giving
where
me
their whole
Ezra
journey kind of
Hondo.
starts.
Oh, Ezra Hondo's
Yeah.
great as well.
Aw.
It's like a twisted father-son or like weird uncle relationship. Anyway, sorry, it's about Maul.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. So that's kind of where their tear kind of starts, is by taking over everything with Hondo, and then whenever they have the duel with Obi-Wan, they end up in space, and then it's just like all hell breaks loose, and they just start taking over all of the criminal underworld. So, what do you guys think about Maul and Savage's kind of just takeover on the criminal underworld and on Mandalore? So, kind of that whole season 5 of Maul and Savage up to the duel with Palpatine.
Yeah, well, I
Let's
think.
Go. Okay, Bale.
Oh,
we'll
sorry,
go Bale,
sorry.
then
no,
Ashley,
no,
and
you-
Emily.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to speak first. I thought you were done. That's my bad.
No, you're all
I
good.
feel like the greatest thing about this is it shows Maul's actually got intellect, because it's very much overshadowed of him making bad estimations and underestimating people. Like you see in that first fight with the Phantom Menace, he underestimates he underestimates Obi-Wan, and that's why he ends up cut in half down a reactor shaft. And then you've got all the other moments where he's underestimating his opponent, or he's not thinking smartly enough, especially when it gets onto Sidious and all of that. And I think it's really good to kind of show that other side of Maul, that he's not always cursed, but most of the time he is.
No, yeah, for sure. Ashlyn, same thing to you.
Okay, I definitely really liked how Maul is kind of like, it's kind of like Maul against the world or the Empire at this point. Like, he's really trying to like build up as much as he can to like completely take over. And I really liked how him and Savage like teamed up with all the other people, like the Pike syndicates, and I forgot what group was that called that he formed with like the Pikes, and I think it was Death
The
Watch. It was
Hudson.
Death Watch.
There's
Shadow
Crim.
Collective?
Well,
Shadow. It was the
Shadow
Shadow Collective, then Crimson
Yes.
Dawn.
Yeah.
Crimson Dawn, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was definitely really cool, and I freaking loved the whole Crimson Dawn thing, especially because I just learned that how Crimson Dawn, they added the spikes to their helmets to like show honor
Because,
to.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
really cool.
Oh no.
Gar Saxon helmet looks sick.
No, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm like, when we're gonna get more recast. When are we gonna get more recast? We haven't seen her like since like Siege of Mandalore. And,
Yeah.
like, I don't even. We ain't even
Is she
Yeah.
the one with the blue hair?
Yeah.
I forget her name. Yeah, she was in Son of Dathomir, right?
Yep.
Yes, she does.
Yes,
all three.
cool. I'm thinking of the right person.
Yeah.
First time I saw her, I thought I had a double take. I thought it was Sabine, and I was like, wait,
Same!
hold on, I gotta like
Same.
go find it.
Hey, who's this like?
She does
Like-
look similar. And when
Well,
I
guess-
had
Sorry, I guess blue hair dye is pretty popular in Mandalore, so.
Well, I kept hearing that Sabine's mum was in the, because she's with I think
Yeah.
it's Ursula
Ursula.
Wren, I think.
Ursula
Yeah,
Wren,
she's
yeah.
with she's
Yeah.
with Bo-Katan on the landing pad, and I heard Sabine Wren's mum's in it. And I just hear this weirdly haired, coloured, short hair person on Darth Maul's side. I'm like,
You're like,
I think I know who this is. But no,
like,
I
yeah,
was completely
how
wrong.
bad like we see like how like bad we see a girl with dyed hair. We think Sabine. Wait, no.
Oh god.
Well, the montage of them taking over the underworld is so amazing, because he just goes to like all the different crime syndicates and it's like, you're either going to listen to me or I will use force. And like he did with the Hutts, he killed like all of them. He's like,
The
okay, do you want
Hutt
to join me
cartel.
or not? And he's like,
Just
I
how-
have no other option, so yes, we'll be.
Was it?
How
was
they
it,
just
like,
decimate all the bounty hunters as well.
Oh.
Was it?
Yeah.
Wasn't Jabba like wasn't Jabba like he was via hologram and he's just like, ha.
Yeah.
That's that you got. I like that he's like very like cocky because he's via hologram to Maul. Because he's got the other hand. He's like, I'm gonna kill him. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm Jabba the Hutt.
Doesn't he then like rock up to his palace in like the next episode as well? And then I
Yeah.
think Jabba then
Yep.
tones down the. He's just like, oh,
Yeah,
that's
he,
a
like-
very angry.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Like, so that all, like that episode, and then whenever, like, yeah, Maul goes to Jabba's palace and fights all the bounty hunters, right?
Yes.
Is that
Yeah.
right? Isn't that in Jabba's palace?
I think there's one in the tunnels of, is it Nal Hutta,
Yeah.
the planet? Yeah, there's one in the
Oh,
tunnels
yeah,
of Nal
that makes
Hutta, and I
sense.
think there's a couple of Gamorrean guards that they have a scrap with. But other than that, he's pretty much just let in.
It's
Yeah.
been a while. It's like the one scene that like sticks with me is when Savage throws his double blade and just like clears that entire door.
Yes.
In Black Sun.
Like kids show apparently.
Then he stops at like one guy and he's just like, looks like you're the leader now. What's your choice?
Yeah, it's like you've got,
Would you like to rethink your decision?
I've got a hell of a business deal for you, my friend.
He does. Chops
Oh.
all of their heads off. All of them.
Yeah.
I
No
love,
remorse.
I love the Pikes because whenever they show up, all they talk about is spice. It's like, bring me my spice. Where's the spice?
They always sound like they're really high, and they're always talking about space
They
drugs.
probably
It's
are.
funny.
Have you seen like their den? It's just like everyone's just high
It's
on
just
the ground.
smoke.
I get literally like every moment they've been, it's like spice, like because they show up in Solo, spice mines. They show up in Bad Batch. Where's the spice? Like,
There's like
it's
the moment in the one episode of when they're looking for Cypher Diaz, and the Jedi come in and they literally just goes, "Hello, Jedi." It's like it's right in front of the galactic law enforcement. You got some balls, mate.
I love the
Yes.
Pikes, man.
Oh god,
There's some. Yeah, their cameo in Bad Batch was awesome.
I loved it.
Mm-hmm. Like, oh my gosh, it's the Pikes.
Yeah.
So we kind of covered a lot of the crime underworld part of that little tear that they go in. So let's just talk about the Mandalore and Maul just taking over Mandalore and everything with Sabine. Kind of just like an open floor
I mean,
discussion.
you mean Visa?
Yeah.
Visa. You said Sabine.
Wait, what did I say?
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
We're all thinking of Sabine now. It's no shame. We're all just got Sabine on the brain.
which, you shouldn't have mentioned hair dye, Malik. That was the downfall. But like with that whole taking over of Mandalore, it just also shows how twisted Maul is by the dark side, that he's going to go to this lengths after. Because keep in mind, he killed his master. It wasn't exactly like, I'd say it's pretty much fair dues, because he didn't kill him. He just, well, sent him to a pit for misery. But like, and then he just goes, kidnaps his would-be partner, takes her entire planet hostage, and then threatens to kill, well, does kill her. And it's just like, okay, I'm not gonna even cut in line in front of you, mate. I'll leave you alone. It's just like, it shows the pure animosity of him.
I'm sorry, like
Yep.
I was like Ashley probably.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's okay. Go ahead.
I was saying
I don't want to cut people off.
Yeah, it's like I love the pure strategy of like Maul. First, I love Maul and Vizsla as a team because you know from the get go this is gonna end horribly for one of these. One of these two is like it's not gonna work out. And of course we all know what it turns out to be, but like they help Maul and Vizsla take over the Mandalore by lying to the populace, having the Shadow Collective attack, then Death Watch comes in and saves the day.
Yeah.
And like beats them, and like you have like Bo-Katan saving kids. I'm like, and then like Satine is overthrown. The people want Death Watch in charge. And then Vizsla's like, all right, L1. Hey Maul, you're going to a cell now. And like they throw Maul in prison, and then like it just shows like Maul's like, I like his strategy. He's like, okay, no, he's gonna do this. All right, cool. I'll go to this prison willingly. And he just goes, Savage, I want a tour. And Savage just busts open the door, and of course they meet Olmec, and one thing leads to another, and then we get a very criminally underrated fight, Maul versus Vizsla. Absolutely love Maul and Vizsla because it's like, I love when villains fight because it's such it's like inevitable. Like whenever villains team up, they're all I almost said an adult word, but they're all like bad people, and so like they're gonna end up like fighting, and like I just love like the juxtaposition of like Darksaber and Mandalorian gadget versus like the Force and Maul, and Maul just like beating the crap out of Vizsla.
Like no mercy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing with the dark side. With the Jedi, they're always holding back. When you've got two Darksiders going at it, they are going at it. They're going for the throat. They're not pulling their punches, and that's one of the greatest things about it.
Definitely.
What's your thoughts on that?
Okay, definitely. I really like the whole Maul versus Vizsla thing, but I think what tops that has to be the Maul versus Ahsoka, because like you see Ahsoka leave the Order, right? And then you see Maul kind of understanding how corrupt the Order already is, and then for a split second you think that they're going to join together because they both don't have any reason to stay with the Jedi, and they it's cool because you think Ahsoka will join him, and then all of a sudden she she's all sassy to him and she smart mouths him.
Yeah.
It's really great.
That and like that entire speech with Maul, like, too late for what? The Republic to fall, it already has, and you just can't see it. Like that entire thing. Oh god, goosebumps every time. It's amazing.
I honestly, Ahsoka was about to say yes, and then he was a little too honest about Anakin. Like he was too honest about Anakin, and that's when she's like, wait a minute,
to me it highlights that Maul's desperation to fulfill what he feels is his purpose, and that is take power, and how longing he is to finally have a partner to accompany that. And we see that with him with Savage. After he loses with Sidious, he literally loses everything. He loses any power he has. He loses himself. Then he comes back. He gets Savage. Then Sidious strips him of that as well. So he tries to recruit Ahsoka, gets stripped of that as well. Then obviously we have Ezra later on, and it's just like, when you look at it, it's kind of sad. Like he's just trying to find someone to connect with, but like in a twisted way. but you can still sympathize in a sense, if you get what I mean.
So fast forward to
Yeah, for sure.
the finale of Clone Wars when he escapes in the ship and like Maul has that look on his face and Ahsoka trying to hold him back.
Yeah.
Someone tweeted at Sam Witwer, it looks like regret on Maul's face, and Sam Witwer just put interesting ... I'm like, huh? Like this is very
Honestly.
it's very like cool like instant like think that Maul like genuinely wanted like is very upset that he couldn't get Ahsoka on his side. That still like
Yeah.
it's bugging him to this day. One thing also from like Maul taking over Mandalore was I didn't see this coming at all.
No.
Was him killing Satine. Like
Yeah.
as a
Yes.
kid you think like no, someone's gotta save her. Someone's gotta say so. Oh no!
The Obi-Wan Satine scene was heartbreaking. Like tears for
Like when
days.
he's like holding her,
Like,
you're like,
Exactly.
Oh.
You
Like,
think he's gonna snap. You literally think he's gonna snap and kill Maul, but he
And-
doesn't, and it's surprising.
and in that part where it shows that you're like, I'm watching a cartoon show on Cartoon Network where it's for like 12 and above, and I've just seen the love of a man's life impaled like a kebab. What is going on here? Like, it's like, oh, that's just a training depression.
That scene is just perfection because it just builds and like it's you know you've been up this confrontation between Obi-Wan and Maul. It's not perfect like oh Obi-Wan's breaking the rules and defying the council, so yeah he's gotta do it, man. But then like it's the throne room and he's surrounded like all right how's Obi-Wan gonna get out of this with the team? And then like the music just builds and then it hits. And this music just stops. It's just silent, and you're like,
And it's just it's just like the breath of Satine. It's like, oh god.
it's like, yikes! And then Maul has that great line. It's like, no, let him fester and writhe in his misery, and then I will allow him to die. It's like, dude, like Obi-Wan and Maul is one of the greatest rivalries of Star Wars. It's just
Definitely.
like, oh my god.
oh my gosh, yes.
Maul was ruthless to Obi-Wan, all because of like one little incident. He like never forgave him.
I mean,
This is like
I wouldn't say it's a
A
little.
little reductive.
I mean, if you had your legs cut off and you went home and it's just like, why don't you have your legs? It was a minor incident, Mum. It was
Okay, but with
Which
Star Wars
minor is the amount of
technology,
lower body he has.
yeah, nah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
That's when you find out
Minor-
Maul never skipped leg day. He worked really hard for those legs, and now they're gone because of Obi-Wan.
What's minor
that-
is the amount of the lower body that Maul actually has.
That morning he was just on the leg press aggressively. He's like, I'm gonna beat Jedi today, and then he got to like the what's the name of it? Is it something minor? I forget the name of the
Skeko-minor?
junk. Skeko minor. That's
Yeah.
it. And he's just crawling around. Then he just sees a leg press. He's just like, Kenobi, not do that again.
Aiden talks Star Wars brings up in the chat too. Something we should probably talk about. It's like because my
Need to
favorite
open
Sith
the
is my favorite Sith is Palpatine.
Of course.
Seeing and so when he like finds out like he senses that Maul's up to you and he just goes ready my shuttle, you're like oh! So this is what happens to Maul is screwed. And then like they mirror the Obi-Wan moment is like I sense the presence I haven't felt since Master. And then like Palpatine just comes in like yeah this is over.
I love that as well, like with how he enters and like he's fucking force choking two guards behind him, not flinching a muscle, just walking, just like, oh, I'm not choking them. Oh wait, I am. I'm just that badass. It's fine. And he just keeps walking in, then just like,
Yeah.
you have been replaced. And it's the best duel in the Clone Wars. I will not be taking arguments. It's the
Also,
best one.
To add on top of that point, I also love how during that scene when he walked up, it's playing the Emperor's theme like straight up, and like it's just like it's like highlighting how strong into the dark side he is.
Oh my god, you have become a rival.
I've just read like the chat and what Brooke said about the headcanon about Maul actually being Hopus. it's weird when you think about it like that, because then the obsession kind of makes sense in a very twisted way.
He's just a really bad ex.
Like, you know how we have that cave that we see in Rebels of all the stuff? He's just got a picture of Ewan McGregor in, like, he's just got a Ewan McGregor ring.
You know what's funny? He has a painting of Satine in that cave.
Yep.
So,
I saw that.
And with the lines drawn out of it and, like, the slashes.
It's very creepy.
I think they shattered glass as well there. Like, it was like he's got artwork that's been slashed, not just like he's gone in, chopped that artwork up, taken it to Dathomir, slashed at it, and it's just like this is kind of like Star Wars Picasso, but not really. But like, it's
Maul needs a therapist, everyone. Desperately so.
A lot of people in Star Wars need therapists.
That's just when he sits down in the therapy session. It's like, so how did you resolve your anger with him? I kind of tracked him down, followed him, found out about his infatuation with someone, absolutely murdered her in front of him whilst leaving her dying in her arms. Okay, sorry. And it's just like the entire breakdown of those events to a therapist would be priceless to see on camera.
Oh gosh.
I'd like to bring
that
up-
would be a Star Wars what if.
What if Maul went to therapy?
What if there were therapists in the universe?
I'd like to bring up
That
one more
would be-
thing. I'd like to bring up one more thing. Brooke said in the chat that Maul drinks his respect women juice, and you think about that, it actually makes a lot of sense because Maul is raised in a matriarch. He's raised in a matriarchal society.
I like that point.
True, but he does choke out Bo-Katan the second she
does
like opens her mouth. So I don't think we can bring in the whole. He respects women. Like he literally
Okay.
sees people that are in charge and like, I'm gonna choke her and talk to you.
But he says like Lady Tano and calls Satine the Duchess. You know, he respects
Point.
their titles and all.
And-
Although I think with the
And he
Duchess it's kind of like a
stabs
mockery.
the team.
Doesn't he say?
I think it's a mockery.
when he
more than
chokes Bo-Katan, doesn't he say when he chokes he's like, ma'am, is that a respectful way to like respect your ruler or something like that? Like,
Yeah, he's like, is this how you treat your rightful ruler? And it's just like, oh, he's really hitting it home that he just absolutely clapped them. Like, God.
Oh my god. Another scene that like gives me goose. Oh, I'm sorry, Carter. Go ahead.
Oh no, you go.
Oh, like another scene that gives me goosebumps is going to the Siege of Mandalore. It's when all the clones like grapple Maul, and he goes, "You don't know what you're doing. We're all going to die. We're all going to die." Like you know what's coming. You're like, "Oh, Maul's right."
That and the darting, like when he's put onto the gunship, and all you can see his eyes, and he's just darting
Oh my
about,
gosh.
like panically. And I'm like, oh, and I'm
Very
like,
Hannibal Lecter.
because I had no idea about like the events of like what happened past, like, because I watched it last year, so I kind of already had some parts spoiled. I knew what was going on. I did not know about the Order 66 stuff, so I was just like, oh shit, they're not gonna do that on a shuttle, are they? What? Oh, and it was just anxiety building progressively.
yeah.
Mad.
For sure. And then, just to like kind of close out before we start talking about Son of Dathomir and then the Siege of Mandalore. Again, with Sisyphus, Maul, once again, he's pushing up the border. He's getting to the top of the hill. He's taking over all the criminal underworld. All this stuff's going good. Him and Savage are on this big giant tear. And what happens? Palpatine kills Savage, and that border rolls right back down to the bottom.
That's what hits me about the line in Rebels. The Sith took everything from me. Like that one line just echoes after I kind of see all of that and what happened with Palpatine. And I don't know if you've seen, but there's actually a Maul edit on YouTube. It is phenomenal. I forget the name of the editor. It's like 8 minutes long and it is incredible. I'll be sure to link it to you guys after. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And Hereth, if you want to guess going into.
Yeah. Transitioning into Son of Dathomir, again, I want to keep this like very short because again, a lot of people have read it, and I want to keep it to like just a short concise thing. But basically, the whole plot of Son of Dathomir, spoilers for people who haven't read it, is basically Palpatine and Dooku baiting Maul into going to Dathomir so they can get the Mother Talzin. It's a whole 4-issue arc and basically a lot of it surrounds like Maul and Dooku switching sides a lot until it hits that final battle.
Yeah, that's when it came up with all those people asking who'd wanted to fight Maul or Dooku. Like, that whole thing came out of Son of Dathomir, didn't it?
Yeah.
Or was that just the thing before?
It came out of Son of Dathomir. So, again, Dooku goes to Maul's side just to bait him into going to Dathomir so Palpatine can show up on Dathomir and kill Mother Talzin. It's a whole ordeal. So I wanted to ask your thoughts
I think
on that.
what I liked about it the most was that it fills in that kind of gap of knowledge that we have in Clone Wars. It's like, I have other uses for you. And it's just like, okay, and then all of a sudden he's back on the throne of Mandalore. I'm like, did you just leave him there after giving him a bit of a lightning tickle? Like, what's going on here? So I'm glad it kind of fills in that gap.
That made me want more like Mother Talzin content, because it's like the fact that Sidious will not continue with his plans until Talzin's taken care of. Like, how powerful exactly is Talzin? Like, Jesus.
I think like Sidious really treats her as a rival, and like quickly touching on Maul 2017, the whole way Maul was kind of captured and brought into the Sith was because, and spoilers if you really don't want to know about Maul 2017, was that Darth Sidious and Mother Talzin were actually working together. I think Sidious was teaching her about the Sith to progress her magics, and I think she was teaching him back as well. But obviously he betrayed that trust when he saw Maul, saw a promising apprentice, nicked him, and then ran away. And then, like, I think Sidious has always considered her to be like a major threat, because I think if you nick her child and see great potential in him, like, that potential's got to come out somewhere. Like, if Sidious sees potential, there's potential.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. Personally, I've not read Son of Dathomir.
Me either, but it sounds good.
It's definitely
Especially
worth a good
the whole
read.
Mother Talzin content. I really liked that arc in Clone Wars.
It's a really good like knowledge filler in terms of some stuff that happens on Dathomir and how like it progresses with her, because I don't want to spoil it completely. But I think you can get like all 4 volumes on Amazon. If not, I think Marvel have some subscription service you can get it on.
Amazon is.
What time place does it take place during? Sorry.
Oh, it takes place between season 6 and season 7. It was supposed to be an unfinished arc of the Clone Wars, but it was right after Clone Wars got canceled. They turned it into a comic.
So it's like straight up after Maul gets captured by Sidious, and then I think it follows the events of up until he returns to Mandalore, and it kind of gives a little bit more background on Gar Saxon and is her name Brooke? Sabine, B-Tech Sabine Wren. Like, it gives a little bit more background information on them, hence why like loads of people hype up Gar Saxon.
Gotcha. Okay.
Isn't it funny that Mother Talzin went from having like that arc of like saving Maul to being the villain of the Jar Jar Mace Windu arc where Jar Jar got a girlfriend?
That's an odd arc, I'll be honest. Like, I'm glad Jar Jar got happy, but come on, did we need to have an arc for it?
And like, why was Mother Talzin? And like, it's cool because like you get Mother Talzin in a duel with Mace Windu, and you're like, this is pretty dope. Then Jar Jar's there, you're like, why?
Misa's still here too. Oh, shut up, Jar Jar. Go back to Phantom Menace.
That arc tested Windu's patience for sure.
I'm like, oh my god, I can understand why he's worn down by the time he got to Revenge of the Sith. Jesus.
Imagine Dave Filoni, they're in the meeting room. Dave Filoni's there. He's like, you know what I want to do? What do you want to do? I want to give Jar Jar a girlfriend. Dave, not only that, I'm going to team up with Mace Windu. Dave, what is going on?
Dave, what have you been smoking?
I also, what happens is, again, chronologically that takes place before Son of Dathomir, but yeah, overall, Son of Dathomir, I just love that arc, and it shows, like, again, how, like, malicious Palpatine can be. Because, like, again, the opening panels is Palpatine torturing Maul. And then, like, talking to Dooku about everything that's gonna happen.
It's not the only opening panels where Palpatine's torturing someone.
No, it's a common occurrence with Palpatine.
There, 2020.
The man likes his torture. Leave him alone.
Oh no, is it Vader 2020 or 2017?
2017. It's right after the.
I think to be fair, I think it is 2020 as well, but like not the opening.
2017, yeah, it's right after Vader screams no. Palpatine starts shocking him.
Yeah. Yeah,
He's a lovely master,
But-
really.
I mean, if that's what you're into, Palpatine. I mean,
He he holds all his interests at heart. He gives them a little bit of encouragement, shall we
I don't
say?
think I want to know what Palpatine's into, because when Lando stole his ship, he found a Gungan fertility statue, and I'm all like, that I would not be stealing that ship, Lando, at all.
A Gungan one? What? He's.
Go read
I know,
Lando, everyone. It's great.
I know he's from Naboo, but. Ooh.
Maybe we'll see
Off
it
the
in the
belt.
Lando series.
Oh,
That would be great.
Oh.
uh,
Oh God, that'd
again,
be interesting to see.
again, I won't touch on it too long, but going to Siege of Mandalore again, we talk about most of the stuff, like the Maul and Ahsoka stuff. But again, I really want to talk about, like, again, going back to what Bale said about the dread of when they're on the spaceship. And again, when Ahsoka lets Maul out and Maul's on his tear, I wanted to talk about that for a bit.
It just shows his pure. He rips a hyperdrive apart. Like he just goes, yeah, that hyperdrive. I'm taking it, mate. It's fine now. Like it shows his like true potential if he were to fully, or if I think because it all comes down to the Force's narrative. If he were on the right side of the story, like it could have shown how amazing he could have been and how much power he could have held. But like, alas, it is as Carter was saying about Sifu what?
I mean, I'm Mr. Sisyphus.
Sisyphus, that guy. But
I've
like, it
seen
kind of
that-
really draws
oh, sorry.
similarities. Sorry, I was just finishing off.
Yeah, so you
Go ahead.
Sorry. I kind of like the scene from that episode when Ahsoka finally releases him, and he's like, "Oh, okay, you're ready to team up finally." And then she's like, "No, you're my distraction."
I was thinking about that. She's like, only together can we do this. You made the right decision. Yeah, I did. Now go cause chaos. What? You can't give me a fighting chance. I'm not rooting for you.
No, yeah, literally, she said that.
You can go off Dino Hall for all I care, as long as the clones are over that way.
That was the only time I kind of felt bad for Maul. He just wanted someone to like roll with.
yeah,
just wants a
Tragedy of
friend.
Maul, indeed.
Maul just wants all the power.
He just wanted a friend. That's all he wanted. Well, then you have everything. I don't know. Ashlyn, have you read the Ahsoka novel?
I'm halfway through it. I started the audiobook,
Okay,
but
so
I kind
you've-
of just stopped.
Okay. So you've read the first with Maul, the Siege of Mandalore.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
See,
pretty
that's
cool from her
interesting.
Side story.
And everyone's like, Disney sucks because they retconned what happened in the Ahsoka novel. When like
We got
75% of the people that said that, and 75% of the people who say that haven't even read the Ahsoka novel. Like,
Oh my
in
god.
the Ahsoka novel, it's not even like there's barely anything in there. There's like a little bit of it, but it has nothing leading up to it. I'm like, if that's retconning, that's fine. I honestly couldn't care. We're getting more content that way.
It's like a page and a half of like story, literally.
Exactly, it's a page and a half.
Yeah.
It's not even that big. of a
I
deal.
have
Oh.
not started that one yet. It's unless I've not started that. I started the
what?
Padme book. But I will start Ahsoka eventually.
You
No, that
have
scene is
to
mostly just
listen to
her
the audiobook.
emotions.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's definitely
You
just, like,
have
her
You have
emotions.
to have audiobook.
For Ahsoka,
If
100%.
you were
Actually,
saying stuff at the
would-
same time.
Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just gonna say it's like the whole scene is just like her emotions towards Maul and like what she's gonna do, and like that's pretty much it.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like you almost have to listen to it with the audiobook, Malik. Whenever you do, I know you normally don't listen to books with the
Yeah,
audiobook.
I heard.
You have to, because it's
I know Ashley Eckstein. Like she does. I don't know if I said her name right, but she does the voice acting, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
I-
reads it. It's so cool.
I can say I've not listened to the Ahsoka one. I did do the Padme one, which has like her
What?
voice actress from the Clone Wars doing it. Like, it's so much more immersive, even with just like that. So I can't imagine what it's like with Ashley Eckstein. It must be great.
It is. The only complaint I have is just, I mean, this goes for any audiobook, is whenever like she tries to do like a male voice.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You're like, ugh.
And even like when she was going back and forth between the girl characters, it was kind of hard to like hear which one was Ahsoka and which one was the girl character.
That's the
they
problem
sound so
I always
similar.
have. With audiobooks, sometimes like some voice actors or like narrators don't have that range, and I'm just like, okay, so is this character speaking or is this character speaking or what's going on here? Like, I've lost the plot already.
Yeah, because it'll be like Caden and Ahsoka will be having a conversation, and you're like, is this Caden talking or is this Ahsoka talking? But yeah,
Exactly.
that's on Ahsoka. But
One of the best canon.
yeah.
reads I
So
know,
back
but-
to Siege of Mandalore. I guess we kind of already talked about it, about Ahsoka like nearly accepting the deal, and it wasn't until, I think it was Malik said, until Maul kind of just like pushed her over the limits. What are you guys' opinions on that? Let's go to Ashlyn first.
Honestly, I really liked that whole scene is just great, but I think Maul mentioning Anakin kind of hit a soft spot for her because she's already kind of like on a rough spot with Anakin. Like, you know, he was really upset with her that she left, but she was doing it for her. And him bringing Anakin up and being like, this is the whole reason why I'm here, is because I was trying to lure him, you know? And I think that was really cool how he kind of mentioned that to her, and she was kind of like, wait, what do you mean, you know?
Yeah,
Mhm.
and like adding on to that slightly, you like when Maul brings up Anakin, you kind of remember that Obi-Wan has that moment on the holocam with her, or holonet with her, going, you need to talk to him, he's not in a good state, basically. He's split between the Chancellor on a special assignment, and it's just like, oh, that's
Yeah.
not good. That's not good.
Yeah, she didn't support that either.
No.
She literally missed him by that
Mm.
much. He's just Anakin by that much.
Just when Anakin's
So
hollow
close.
beeps midway through a rampage through the Jedi Temple, just like, yes. Hi, Anakin. What are you doing? I'm shopping.
Meanwhile,
Why does it
That's-
look like you've been slashing things? I'm at the butcher's. I'm getting a nice cut of pork.
that's another one.
like in-
What if Ahsoka was at the temple? Like, what would have happened? Like, how would that?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a great one as well.
Well, it's like the one TikTok sound that's like it's like, what are you doing in there? It's like drugs.
No.
Oh god.
It's like a new one.
Oh.
But yeah,
Pardon me. Sorry.
Hereth, you gotta take over last Siege
Yeah.
of Mandalore solo.
Yeah, so going again to Siege of Mandalore, again, we already talked about Maul's plan to bait Obi-Wan Kenobi earlier. We kind of lead up with the deal and Maul ripping apart the hyperspace engine. So going down to, again, I think the next chronological step would be Solo in this equation. Again, this is not really too much because, again, he's at the very tail end of it, so I feel like there's not much of a discussion there besides, what was your reaction when he popped up, like, for the first time in Solo? I feel like I want to go to Malik first.
Oh, so that it was such a nice little like surprise because like I adore Solo. I love Solo to death because like again that's my bread and butter. I love the smugglers, I love the guns, I love the crime scenes, I love it all. When Maul showed up, I'm like, what? Like it was the first time they were actually going like, nah, like the shows and all the other content matters. They will be bleeding into the movies and into like the bigger content. So you hope you keep up with that. But I was just like, I remember just like, it was just so unexpected because you know like Kira's like, oh, who should she call? What? There. I like that like his paint is like kind of like smeared and doesn't look right because he's like because you know of course
He
he's
looks
kinda messed
rough.
up. Yeah, he's got like the broken Inquisitor saber because we assume he killed an Inquisitor, but like it's just like he's got. I love the Crimson Dawn like outfit, the robes, the necklace. It's just so cool. Like I was just in shock. I was in awe. Like oh my god. Like and it's also like if you read War of the Bounty Hunters, it's actually starting to get paid off like right now, that cameo.
Yeah.
I was going to say, can we take a moment to appreciate that absolutely amazing saber design for like Rebels, and I adore that. I grinded in Battlefront so hard to get that skin just for the saber, not for the skin, for the saber. I was so rewarding.
Oh my gosh. And Ashlyn, same thing to you.
Honestly, my favorite thing about that scene is you not expecting Maul to be there. Like, I think the first thing you hear in that scene is just his voice. And if you're used to Ray Parker's voice, you hear it and you're like, oh, no way, like that's him. And then it cuts to him in like a hologram with him and Kira. And it's like the two you would not expect because you're so used to expecting like these smugglers and like, yeah, it was just really cool.
Like who goes to the Han Solo movie and think I'm going to see Darth Maul tonight? Like
yeah,
what?
Yeah. It's just two different time zones, and then when you like Maul is really prevalent in like the prequels, and so when you see him in Solo, it's like way cooler because it's like best of both worlds right there.
Yeah, it's like it's a crossover. Like oh.
Yeah, I saw this funny meme. I saw this one meme where it was like a SpongeBob meme, and it was like my mom when she sees Darth Maul in Solo. And then it's like me who knew he lived throughout the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Have y'all seen that?
Yeah,
sure.
I've seen it.
So that's so.
Oh, I had.
Well, like,
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut in.
Fight for it.
I was just gonna say, like Malik was saying, that watching everything is paying off, and reading everything is paying off, and it's gonna be a lot harder if you haven't watched everything. It's almost forcing people to watch everything to understand like newer stuff, like Ahsoka. Like Ahsoka is gonna be solely based off if you have watched Clone Wars, and you should be watching Rebels if you're gonna watch Ahsoka. So it's kind of like a nice little payout there.
Also, you're my
especially
son.
The Mandalorian. Like watching The Mandalorian, you had to know a lot of other stuff.
Oh god, I had so many discussions with my mum about how it worked. She's like, "Who's Bo-Katan?" And I was like, "Someone related to the Mandalorians." And that was just the answer I gave because I didn't want to go into Mandalore politics with her. I don't think she'd want to hear it, to be honest.
I love Mandalore politics.
So good.
But like when I saw it in Solo, because I wasn't into Star Wars then. Like I wasn't into. I've always been like a casual fan ever since I was a kid. Like when The Force Awakens came out, I watched that. Like every Christmas, my family always went to watch the newest Star Wars film, whether that was Rogue One, whether that was. I don't think we watched Solo because Solo was like a weird, like time placement. But I didn't actually watch it on release because I was just like, oh, I've heard it's awful. I won't watch it. So I watched it really late. And then I was just sitting around with my parents, not really enjoying it. I just see Darth Maul at me, and I'm like, huh?
Double take.
So I'm missing all the context from Clone Wars. I'm going off of mainly the things I heard in the playground when I was a kid going, he didn't die. I'm like, wait, but... And it kind of just clicked. And my mum was just like, I thought he died in Phantom Menace. I'm like, yeah, apparently not indeed. So like it was I wish I kind of rewatched Solo after I did the Clone Wars now, because I feel like I'd have that massive like, oh my god kind of moment of it just dawning on me with all of that, but alas, I did not.
Or like or maybe a Crimson Dawn on you.
I love when that into bass plays a little bit in the background too when he shows up. You're like, oh.
Yeah, the Shun Dun or whatever it is, the bit at the beginning. I forget the exact bit.
How do you guys feel? Because a lot of people have been debating this. The fact that he activates the lightsaber in the hologram. Everyone like complains about that. They're like, what? Like, why would you do that? It's a hologram.
I think it's cool.
It's cool, but like,
bringing back old Maul.
Kira won't know anything about Maul. I wouldn't have thought. She might know that the leader's like a weirdo, with a powerful weirdo, and then all of a sudden he flicks on the weapon of the so-called traitorous Jedi, and he just like stares at her like, "You will come visit me on Dathomir." Like it's just like a threat. Like
Yeah.
that's how I see it.
I think Kira does know because he calls her by name, first name, without her mentioning it. Like, remember, he's like,
Yeah.
"You and I'll be."
Yeah, they on first
much
name
more
basis.
close."
Yeah.
Kira.
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe it's perhaps like sometimes when you hear someone go, I'm a Jedi or I'm a Sith." Well, Maul won't say I'm a Sith. He'll just say, I don't think he'd even really say anything. Maybe like there's like rumors floating about that he's got one of these lightsabers, and obviously when it's probably something that Kira's probably just going, "Oh yeah, I'm sure he's probably got plenty that he nicked off of Jedi's and bought off the black market." And then like all of a sudden he's just like, "You will come visit me." I'm like, yeah, there's a realization there of, oh, I'm screwed.
So does War of the Bounty Hunters, like with like Kira and Maul, does it take place right when she visits Dathomir?
I will say maybe we should hold off on that War Banner because like that is
Yeah.
like very recent.
Yeah, I've not read that
I
yet.
think we should give people like that just wrapped up.
Okay.
So we should give people a chance to
Of
like
course,
actually
yeah.
like read that one.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I've not. I'll probably read that soon.
Pretty soonish, yeah.
But yeah, so moving along with Maul. Next time we see Maul chronologically is in my favorite show, Rebels, and his
Same.
return is just
Same.
gives chills like every time. It's like,
Yes.
oh my gosh,
I didn't know
Oh, man.
anything.
old master.
I didn't know anything
Yeah.
about Maul's return in that show when I watched it. So I just see
Aw.
Neither
this
did
weird patterns bloke. I'm like, I swear that looks familiar. I'll let it slide. And he just goes, and then he pulls, but you can call me Maul. I'm like, that's the connection. And I'm just like, wait, he's gonna be Kanan, he's gonna be Ahsoka. It's such a great arc. It's my favorite arc of Rebels. It's up there in my favorite arcs of Rebels. I can't compare that to Jedi Knight.
Definitely one of the best.
Easily,
I don't want to cry.
easily.
Let's not talk about Jedi Knight.
I was watching Rebels live at the time, like as it aired, and I dissected the trailers, and in the trailer it was like, "You may call me old master." It just showed the Maul with the hood, but you couldn't tell all the way. So I paused it and like zoomed in really hard up the bright. So I'm like, "That's Maul. Like that's Maul. That's Maul."
In-depth analysis.
Yeah, it was insane. Like, oh my god, and this one hurts because Kanan's my favorite Jedi. Like, I love Kanan to death. So, what happens
Oh
in
my
that
God.
Malachor arc? I'm
No, I was depressed for days. Like seriously, like in my bed crying. I couldn't even finish it. Like, it was so bad.
it's done so well because it's so fast. You don't know what happened, and you need like a
Definitely.
little bit to realize. Because like Maul just goes like, "My apprentice," and then just like it's a quick shot to Kanan, zooms in, just and then slash bright white,
And it's just like
pure red. You're like,
is
Oh.
ringing as well.
Well, if you got
Kanan,
if you got that set over, if you got that set over Kanan getting blind, I don't.
That's another podcast. We're not talking about this episode.
Ashley.
Didn't
If
happen.
you want to end this episode with me aggressively wailing, then I think we're going down the right route. I'm kidding, of course. But
Yeah, that's.
with sorry.
Nope, you go.
We talking
Oh,
about
I was gonna.
Maul and Rebels.
I was- Yes, yeah. Going
Yes.
back to that, with that fight with him and Kanan,
Oh,
like when Maul comes back, and then Kanan just swerves, and then you just see that moment on Maul's face, just like he realized what he did. Just that he just like you freeze frame, he's just like, oh dear, and then just off he goes.
but speaking of which, going back to before, one of my favorite moments of that is when after he blinds Kanan and like Maul has his giant speech, like he's like, "I'm gonna like activate the weapon and take over this planet," and then Ahsoka and Maul have their little duel, and you hear the little bit like a rendition of Duel Fates, and like you get the little flashback with
Yeah.
Siege of Mandalore.
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't notice that bit of Duel of the Fates, actually. I need to rewatch that.
Oh, I love that moment. And then when Ahsoka jumps up and he's like, "Running again, Lady Tano." Sorry, it's one of my favorite moments in Star Wars.
I love that he calls her Lady Tano. It's so funny.
Again, the respect woman juice.
But
I love just Maul falling off the pyramid. It's so cool of Kanan to go blind warrior so fast, but like it's just so funny. It's so well done. It's like it's comedic timing perfection because like Maul's like these guys like yeah.
What's that audio? This is where he realized he up. Like that audio. I want to edit that on now.
We can
and
do
then
an
Kanan
entire.
puts on the mask, and it's over.
I love that mask.
I'm a suck for that trope. Like it's the yell as he like like as he goes, it gets me. Oh my god!
Another
Well,
Maul
at the end
plan
of
gone
the
to
day-
fail because he's an idiot.
Yep.
Like Ahsoka, that day, with like the World Between Worlds and stuff, had to fight Darth Maul, three Inquisitors,
Yeah, 3.
Yeah,
Darth Vader.
3 in between you.
and Palpatine, all in the same 24 hours. I mean, holy crap! How much
by
did
the
she endure?
By the time I got to Vader, I just go, I'm really sorry. I pause for a minute and I just crack out a roll and I just go, wake me up in 2 hours. We'll go then. It's like, I can't
No.
continue.
Vader was definitely the most emotionally draining fight for her. Because the whole, like,
Yes.
him being like, revenge is not the Jedi way. I'm no Jedi. That was so great.
Have
Like,
you seen the edit with the blue-eyed Anakin? Like where you know when he
Yes.
just slits down and they fill in. Oh, they should have had that in it. But like, there's
No,
so many
definitely.
things in that fight that are just perfection.
I question
So
still how
amazing.
did he have his eyebrows?
Take her back, maybe.
Yeah,
And then he shakes it again.
He took Palpatine. He took Palpatine aside after the whole suit surgery, just like, this might sound really weird, but can you put my eyebrows back in? Odd request, I know, but I think it will look really cool in a shot in the near future.
But getting back to Ezra, throughout season 3, Maul. Wait, did I say getting back to Ezra?
Maul,
Yeah.
You
He's on your mind 24/7, Kai. You cannot hide it.
He is your favorite.
Okay, getting back to Maul. Throughout season 3, he's just kind of baiting Ezra into coming to the dark side, and they have this real just weird relationship where Maul's like, he's like, I'm your master. And then Kane's like, shut up. Will you just please shut up in the back? Jeez, like Maul had to have been so annoying for Kanan. He's just like, hey apprentice. He's like, no, just I told you 10
That and a
times,
continued
not your
trust.
apprentice.
Like he's
Well,
just
what's your
like,
guys'
we can
thoughts
trust
on,
him.
Maul. Yeah.
I love
What's your guys'
Ezra.
thoughts on baiting Maul into Ezra? Into using
It's
the
great.
2 holocrons to ultimately find Kenobi. Let's go to Ashlyn first.
Okay. Honestly, I love how Ezra's just so trusting of everybody from Hondo to Maul. Like he's just he's a very trusting person. And I really liked how everyone thought just like Ahsoka was gonna join Maul, everyone thought Ezra was gonna join Maul because, Maul kept calling him apprentice and Ezra actually helped him with the holocrons. Yeah. I just really like Ezra's character in that whole arc, just because you never really know what to expect from Ezra.
Expected
Yep.
that, but Ron didn't expect giant space whale, so yeah, you really don't know what to
No.
You're really new to this, aren't you, Thrawn?
And then same question to you, Malik.
I was gonna say, one of my favorite. I love Force spawns. I think Force spawns are like some of the coolest concepts of Star Wars. I'm a huge dyad simp, and I love the arc of Yoda and Dooku and how Palpatine uses that Force spawn to mess with Yoda. And so the fact that like Ezra and Maul had like messed with the holocrons and it bonded Ezra and Maul, and like to the point where like now like Ezra's seeing Maul and nearly killed the guy because he thought he was Maul, but like. It's so cool to me, you know, that like they're separated by light years, but like the Force is still like messing with them in these respective ways. At least one of my favorite scenes with the Bentu, where it's like, I need to stop seeing Maul. Then don't turn around. And Maul's just there. Hi. Hey, Maul here.
No, one of the most frustrating scenes from that was when Ezra is like bonded with Maul, and he keeps talking about Tatooine, like saying all the twin suns, desert planet, and you just want to scream like, Tatooine! He's trying to go to Tatooine to see Kenobi.
I love that because it literally feels like Ezra is stepping out of bounds, like out of like his like where he's supposed to be, and it really like I love that like when that whole like when we get to twins, I'll probably say it was twin sons, but like it's just like you genuinely feel like Ezra, stay in your lane. This isn't your lane. Stay in your lane.
Exactly.
Yeah, and Bell, same thing to you.
Yeah, so with his kind of, I love the idea of him kind of tormenting Ezra, and that and the continued trust. Like, Maul can throw Kanan out of an airlock, blind him, and he's still just like, we can trust this guy. He's lovely. What do you mean? It's like, I've lost my eyes and nearly my life, and this is trust. And it's like the fact of how much he can abuse that is amazing. But it does.
Yeah.
It just goes back to that kind of sadness of Maul's just constantly trying to find a way to find meaning, or like find that apprentice to give it meaning, almost like, because when you look at it with Kenobi, you can very much see that he was trying to take Ezra on as his apprentice. I think even after the holocron stuff happened, so I think even after the whole thing happened with Obi-Wan, he'd still want to keep Ezra on, which kind of begs the question, he doesn't know how to continue without having like that extra person that he's always fated to get like removed from him. And that really kind of nails home the kind of tragedy of Maul and how it links into that what's the Greek philosopher name again, the Greek thing name, I forget it. Sisyphus, whatever.
I was a mythology in middle school, so that's why I know it.
The one that Freddie Prinze Jr. said, I can't remember but yeah, it just kind of hits home. Interview. It's such a great interview. It's so good.
Yeah. Maul and Ezra, and see, it's just such a unique dynamic. I don't know. I just love those episodes. And then obviously the end of Maul's story.
Ooh, before you do that, can I just talk about one last thing? Sorry, Carter. I do really want to go into Twin Sons, sure. But so it's just, there's only one critique I have with Rebels Maul, and that is the time gap. Is that like, because there's that jump between when we see him in Solo and when we see him in Rebels, when one time he's chilling in, is that bounty hunters?
So no, War of the Bounty Hunters. Thank you, Brooke, for mentioning in the chat. But it's in between episode 5 and 6.
Yeah.
The rumor is with that time gap bail is that's going to be explained in Fallen Order 2. That's the rumor.
Around that.
That would be fucking sick. Okay, yeah. I'm excited for Fallen Order 2 now. Sorry, Carter. Keep doing what you're doing.
How?
The whole plot's gonna surround Cal Kestis taking down Crimson Dawn.
Well, to be fair, he was on Dathomir.
Oh, he was on Dathomir.
Yep.
I would find it odd. That's weird. Taron Malicos and Maul. Like, I'm surprised that they didn't run to each other. I don't know if you've heard of Taron Malicos at all, or
You played Fallen Order.
Have you played Fallen Order?
Actually,
have you played Fallen Order?
Sorry, I can't I forget names really easily.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I have not, but I saw today. I got an email today that Fallen Order is on sale right now. To everyone watching, it's on sale right now. It's 60% off. So
Get it.
through.
It's very, very good.
Do you have Xbox?
No, I don't. That's my problem. I need to get a system so I can play all the games. But I usually just watch the storylines on YouTube. So.
Gotcha.
Because it's on Game Pass if you have Xbox.
Oh, gotcha.
For free.
All right.
You have to pay for Game Pass, Carter. It's not free.
But you have to pay for a
Well,
subscription
it's Game
service.
Pass.
Fallen
Whatever.
Order is really good.
It's amazing, but like
Yeah, it's awesome.
I'm really surprised that wasn't a thing that happened. Like, given how long he was just chilling on Dathomir for, you would have thought that Maul would have sensed his presence, or something at least.
No, for sure.
That's it.
I hope something comes of it.
Let's also be kind of careful of Fallen Order spoilers. I believe we
Yeah.
have some people in the chat who is I know Brooke was streaming it, but I don't know how far she is in it.
I will go no further, other than that
So let's
he's there.
just go
I will
Since
seal
then-
my lips.
on order. Let's just go right to Twin Suns. A lot happens in Twin Suns.
Oh.
I thought somebody could wait. Go ahead,
No,
Carter.
just go. You're good.
No, it kind of takes place after Twin Suns.
Okay.
Okay, I want to see where you go with this.
Yeah,
Go on.
so because when Force Awakens was coming out, there was a comic book called Shattered Empire, and this is why I thought Maul was going to show up at least somewhere in the sequel era, because in that book, this was before Rebels 2, or before Twin Suns got released, but in that book, it's after Return of the Jedi, Leia actually goes to Naboo, and she's in like the hangar where Duel of Fates takes place, and she stops and she starts shivering, and she's like, I feel cold. And when you say that, you see Maul's eyes behind Leia, and I thought, does this mean like, and like now I think about it, I think it's like a reference to the fact that like George Lucas wanted to do Leia versus Maul, but I remember like that was before Force Awakens came out, so I thought like, bro, is Maul still alive in the sequel era?
Does Leia have psychometry? That could be
I think it's just, she just
Well,
walked in the
that's-
room and like
yeah.
kind of sensed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, yeah, it's like that. I love that moment so much.
I think we can go to Twin Suns now.
Yeah. Does Ash have anything she'd like to say before we go to Twin Sun?
Yes.
Oh no, we're good. We're good.
Alright.
All right, Twin Suns. There's a lot to talk about, so I'm just gonna completely hand it over to you guys. Just kind of open for discussion. Also, anyone in the chat, if you guys have anything to touch on with Twin Suns, because very deep, man. So whoever wants to get the conversation started off.
I mean, I'll go first if no one else has got anything to say initially. So I think I saw an analogy of, I can't remember who was conducting. I think it was Sam Witwer, who voices Maul for those that don't know. And he was talking about how blinded by rage Maul was in this moment. I think he, as an analogy, used it to kind of like, as if you saw your high school, I think it would be high school for you guys, bully, like when you're like 10 years later, like you still got like kind of seething hate and anger for them or whatever. And that and the ready positions, I think you've all kind of heard about the ready positions with Obi-Wan, or like he first of all takes the stance of the Clone Wars era Obi-Wan that we see with that one. Then he takes the stance of old Ben Kenobi with that one, and then the Qui-Gon one with like that. And I think that really just shows his growth as becoming almost one with the Force. Like you can tell him and Qui-Gon have been having some secret Force communication lessons about some stuff, because like it's all flows so beautifully in that fight.
For me, I think Mesa Windu on TikTok just said it best. Like the duel isn't the combat, it's the walk around the fire
Yes.
and the words of ideologies where it's like, look at you, a rat sparring in the desert. It's like, look what I have risen above. It's like, it's these two men and how different they are, and just the and how like their views on life. If you define yourself by your power to dominate, to take life, then you have nothing. And what do you have? You know, it's like this. That's the duel right there. That's the clash of the characters. That's so good.
I honestly feel like that whole fight was like the perfect ending for Maul's story. Like, he hates Kenobi with like that's his whole life purpose, is getting after Kenobi, and for him to finally like end it, like, and honestly, I saw this one person say that Maul's death was peaceful. Like, as he died, he was like at peace. Like, he finally like not like completed his life goal, but like, you know, Kenobi gave him that peaceful death.
Yeah, and I think when you look at it as well, in how you mirror, and I'm sure you've all heard this comparison before, when you look at how Qui-Gon dies and how Obi-Wan holds him there, and how then Satine dies and how Obi-Wan holds him there, it kind of
And Qui-Gon too, yeah.
it kind of shows his
That's cool,
growing
yeah.
respect and embracement of the Jedi values, and just like, you tormented me for years, but at least you're going to get a fair
Yeah.
like goodbye in that sense.
I will send you into the next realm with peace, and also that line hits like, tell me, is it the chosen one? He is, and he will avenge us. Like the fact that like Maul recognizes that Kenobi is suffering as well, and that as much as he suffered, like it's just like, wow, it's so good. And like, I think Freddie Prinze Jr. said this too in the interview. It's like, please go watch that interview. It's so good, everyone. But like, I think he says Obi-Wan, when he does that, he cuts the boulder in half for Maul, so Maul can finally rest. And it's just like,
Yeah.
damn, that's heavy.
Deep.
Also, I would love to
This
add.
man, I mean,
Sorry. I was gonna say, I'd love to add as well is, I always like call the duel of Twin Suns, because again, Twin Suns is my favorite duel. Again, it's my favorite lightsaber duel. I always call Twin Suns the Western draw of lightsaber duels, because it's very much like an old school Western.
That's really good.
Definitely with the
Probably
setting
that way.
for sure.
Yeah.
And the speed,
Around the
just
campfire.
how quickly they take out each other.
Yup.
That as well. Sorry, Millie, you go first.
I also find it, this is another duel for the fate of someone who's very important in the galaxy, whereas Duel
yeah.
of Fate for Anakin, this is a duel kind of for the fate of Luke.
Duel of
Twin
the Fates
Suns.
Part 2.
Yeah.
But I was
Yeah,
gonna.
like that meaning Twin Suns means so much. Because not only does it relate to Obi-Wan and Maul's life and how their lives, though very different, are inevitably very similar, and at that moment they're kind of brought together. And then I guess you could also see the Twin Suns as it's like the same thing as Duel of the Fates, where, like you guys were saying, it's up for, like, Duel of the Fates is for the fate of Anakin, now it's for the fate of Luke.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think
That's a cool
I don't know.
comparison.
I don't know where I read this. I think it was some interview of Sam Witwer somewhere, or someone else, like maybe Dave Filoni. I did try and find it before coming on because I remembered it, and I saw a clip. I think it was on TikTok, like a passing thing. I scrolled past, and I can't find it anywhere now. But it was something about him saying that Maul kind of had this presence in his head telling him to do what he did with Qui-Gon. I think it was kind of an instinctive thing pushed on by the fact that he saw him do the Qui-Gon pose. Just like, oh, you're gonna fight like him now? Okay, well, I know exactly how to counter that. And I was like, I thought maybe it's like a kind of psychological game that Obi-Wan was trying to kind of push on. Like, I know there's no reasoning with this man anymore. He's gonna go down, and like that whole thing.
Another thing
Yeah.
I do and I enjoy is like the fact that he tries to kill him the same way as tries to kill that he tries to kill Qui-Gon, but also the fact that like Maul has just been this overarching presence in Obi-Wan's life to the point where it's confirmed in canon that the reason Anakin does the jump on Mustafar is because he thinks back to Maul, the fight between Obi-Wan and Maul, and thinks, all right, I'm gonna beat him the way he beat Maul. The fact that like you think like wow, like Maul really has been just this presence all throughout Obi-Wan's life. And now he's in the fact that like I love the line too, like he tells Ezra go and I will mend this old wound. It's
Yes.
like it's so good.
So,
That and
oh my
how-
God, I just
oh,
made
sorry.
that comparison. Jeez. No, just saying like the comparison. I never realized that like Anakin tries the same thing that Obi-Wan did in the Duel of the Fates, and that's why he says don't try it because he knows what he's about to try.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't think about that either.
I never. Yeah.
I think it's in the beginning of the Obi-Wan Anakin series.
Yep.
Yep.
There's
I just read
it's
that too.
there's like a hologram training droid, which so I think the way it works is it's a sparring droid, and they can preset it, and they use like security footage from Naboo to reconstruct Maul's movements or something. And Anakin always practiced against him using the same techniques as Obi-Wan, so he just kind of got a bit arrogant in that sense. But what was I going to say? I also like how kind of Ezra's guilt and realization when he's talking to Obi-Wan, realizing he literally brought Maul onto him in the end, and how like he's like, no, I'm here to save you. It's like, well, or did you just bring him to my doorstep?
The only game from here was Maul, and and again, like Ezra stepped out of bounds. He should not be here. Like, this isn't your part of the story, Ezra. This like your part is on Lothal. That's where you should have stayed. And it's just like, and it genuinely does feel like Ezra's like is stepping into like another movie, another show. And you're like, Ezra, go back to Rebels.
But I'm also interested because Ezra never asked the same of Kenobi, did he?
I'm sorry. Repeat it.
So, like, obviously we know that Ezra's fate ended on Lothal. He never asked what Kenobi's was, did he? And that's like one of the things I wonder. Did he ever kind of come to that realization of, well, obviously he wouldn't have known about Luke, but would he have? Did he know what Obi-Wan vaguely was doing, or? Because I don't think it would. Because like he would have walked away from that fight, knowing he led Maul to Obi-Wan. He doesn't know what the hell Obi-Wan's doing, but he must probably assume it's important.
Yeah, I think
I
he
don't
just
think
thinks
really
he's hiding out
anyone
here.
knew,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
No one
guess.
is like. Oh, I don't. Because Ashton hasn't read Ahsoka. Not a lot of people know about what was going on, and even the people that are pretty in tight. I'm trying to spoil it.
Well, like
or Bail in Ahsoka, someone who's pretty in tight with Obi-Wan doesn't know what's going on with Leia and Luke, so I would probably say no, Maul didn't.
Yeah, but like
I'll talk to you.
I'm
after.
just yeah. Okay, cool.
It's okay. I don't care if you spoil it.
We don't have spoilers here. It's fine.
No
It's spoiler-free zone.
spoilers.
All right, all right.
Holy crap.
I'll be sure to
It's
finish
one of those.
it.
It's one of those things in the moment you go, it's fine, and then you read it and you're just like, oh, I wish I didn't ask.
Yeah.
But
I feel like that kind of wraps up our Twin Sons discussion because I feel like we touched on everything. And
Pretty much.
again, conclusion, same questions as before of the beginning part of who are you, where can we find you? But I would kind of add like 2 little more questions in there. Again, we kind of see Kira as kind of like Maul's final apprentice that lives on. Obviously, Ezra's on the unknown regions, we don't know where he's at. But we know that Kira technically is alive during the original trilogy and possibly could live on post the original trilogy. So I want to ask, do you think there would be a possibility of Kira popping up in the Book of Boba? And secondly, we already talked about Maul's fate and overall, like, where we think he is after Solo. So I want to ask, where do you think Maul will pop up again? So the 3 questions are, who are you, where can we find you? Do you think Kira will pop up in Book of Boba? And when do you think we'll see Maul next? I'll go to Bale first, then Ashland, then Malik.
Okay, well, you can find me by looking up the name that should appear, Grandmaster Bale on TikTok. A follow would be much appreciated if you are watching, but that's obviously up to you. In terms of Kira, I don't really know much about what she's up to outside of Solo. So I would guess if she's involved with crime syndicates, I know there's a couple of snippets I've seen from the comments from like screenshots. I'm like, okay, she's doing something. I don't know what, but she's doing something. And I think, as I've not seen anything saying that she's kind of been booted out of Crimson Dawn, I think it's pretty likely that we're going to see her in Book of Boba, to be honest.
I'm
Yeah, when do you think
Ashlyn.
we'll start?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No,
Are y'all
no,
done?
sorry. No, you're good.
No, you can cut off the
I'm
host.
Ashlyn.
You're good.
You can find me on TikTok at Ashiko or on Instagram at Ashlyn Coaster. And to answer the questions, I think knowing Star Wars, who knows when we'll see Kira again, but I definitely think it would be a great like little context to add into any other new show. As far as Book of Boba, I'm not sure, but maybe even like in the Lando show, maybe.
that
Like
would be really good to see her.
that would be a
That's
really
a possibility I didn't think of, to be fair.
a great place to enter Kira in, just because Lando was in Solo, and yeah. And as far as seeing Maul again, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him in the Ahsoka show. I'm not sure when the Ahsoka show was supposed to take place.
It's taking place, I believe,
It's like
after
they're
Mando.
finding.
After Mando.
Yeah, he's logged out.
I think it's after Mando, but I think it's rumored we may be getting some. Well, I say rumored. Half the time with rumors in these shows, it's literally just people saying we want this, not
Yeah.
rumored. But like, supposedly we might be getting some flashbacks. Oh god, he's
They
flexing
better
it.
be
He's
finding the
flexing
boy.
it.
The boy.
Bring him home,
Finding
Dave.
the boy.
Def-
Bring him
Definitely.
home.
Definitely. But if we get flashbacks, it would be great to see Maul in those Ahsoka flashbacks.
Oh.
Yeah.
100%, 100%.
And
So,
And-
oh hi. So hi. Before I do my outro, I made a promise on another podcast a few days ago that I would do a Christopher Walken impression of Darth Maul. What if
yes.
Christopher Walken was cast as Darth Maul? So I gotta get this. I gotta get this stuff right. Hold on.
I've got a
What
feeling it's
line
gonna be
should I?
good.
What line should I do as
Kenobi.
Darth? Like
You gotta do the
Darth-
Kenobi stream.
Kenobi.
Kenobi.
That's great.
Look at
Oh,
you,
see.
scurrying the rat like scurrying in the desert like a rat. I fulfilled my obligation. Sorry, I made a promise on Podwans that I plugged They Fly Now and said, "Listen, They Fly Now, you'll hear me do Christopher Walken, President Darth Maul." Had to fulfill my promise. But yeah,
Hi, Bill.
I'm. Oh, we lost one. But yeah, my name is Malik. I am the. You can find me on TikTok at the Jedi Smark. I talk pro wrestling. I talk Star Wars. I talk comics, all types of nerdy stuff. I have a podcast. Hot exclamation point! It's a podcast. It's found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, and all types of the places where you get your podcast. Where I think we'll see Kira again, it's like possibly. I think Kira's gonna have like her own. I don't see where she really fits in Boba's story, but I think like we will see Kira in live action again soon. Honestly, like we'll probably see her in like if the Fallen Order 2 rumors are true, we might see her in Fallen Order. Now, I got a crazy theory about where we might see Maul again. I think we might see Maul in Kenobi because Maul recognizes Vader, and I think in Kenobi, like we're gonna get Hayden Christensen as Vader, so I think we may actually see like Vader hunting down Maul with the Inquisitors, and maybe see Maul get that broken lightsaber in Kenobi as
That
like a
would be
surprise.
cool.
Yeah, surprise cameo from Maul, much like how we didn't think we'd get Cad Bane in Bad Batch, like
Yeah.
Good point.
And-
Yeah.
so yes. So yeah, like I'm thinking maybe Maul, we're gonna see him in Kenobi, and as a brief cameo, and maybe even a Vader Maul fight.
Ooh.
That would be
Oh.
very, very
That would be
good.
really
That'd
cool.
be.
That'd be very, very good. I
That'd be
apologize.
electric.
My thing glitched out for a second there, so I think it looked like I left. I did not leave. I, in fact, clicked a button,
Oh,
and I
you're
don't know what I
fine.
did.
You clicked the video off button.
You're all good. You're all good. But yeah, thank you guys all for joining us. Ashley, Malik, Bale. Thank you guys all for joining us. You can find me at Car2D2. It's right down there on TikTok and on They Fly Now. And Hereth, where can we find you?
Again, Hereth Productions on TikTok and Hereth Productions on YouTube. I mainly kind of transfer everything over to They Fly Now overall. Also, my webcam isn't on again, like I said at the beginning of the show. Again, my power bank died, so I can't use my webcam. And secondly, I'm sick and potentially have COVID. So, yes. Very funny.
Hopefully you do not.
Positive
Let's
vibes.
hope not. And then shouting to people. Sorry.
No, I was doing what Bill did. Positive vibes.
Okay. So shouts to people on the chat. Shout out to Element 7, Pod 1's podcast. If you haven't checked out those two's podcasts, Element 7's on Dyad in the Force, and Pod's on podcast and Charlie Johnson have their own podcast. Pod's on podcast is in his name. Shout out to Krabby02, Brooke B_Dazzler, which again, check out Far Far Away Factory on Etsy. Shout out to Brian with the Beard. Shout out to Aiden Talk Star Wars Topics. Who else we got in here?
Chris, Star Wars
Ace
Lawyer.
Bronx, Star Wars Lawyer. Yeah.
Too Black,
Chris,
Too
thanks for
Nerdy.
joining Kieran.
Heyo.
Yep. Too Black, Too Nerdy. I think it's once a month, right?
Yep, everyone on
On YouTube.
and
So,
Spotify.
yeah, thank you all for joining us. Yep. So thank you guys all for joining us. We really appreciate it. And we had an awesome time talking about Darth Maul. And Hereth, what's next week's episode on?
Next week's episode is on Palpatine.
Is it the State of Star Wars? Oh,
You guys always do this to me. You literally bring me on to an episode, and then the next episode's like my favorite. No, I'm sick of this. You're doing this on purpose now.
Oh, gosh.
Well, Malik, if
Last
we have a
month-
cancellation,
If we have a,
if we have a cancellation,
we'll
you're
let you know.
welcome to come on.
We'll
And
let
same
you know.
thing to both of Ashlyn and Bill too. If you guys ever want to come on again, just let us know. We had this was an
Sounds
amazing.
good.
You,
Yeah.
you do a High Republic podcast, I will sign up quicker than anyone's business. I'm loving it so far.
So we're going to be doing High Republic Wave 2, but it's going to be a while.
Yeah.
yeah,
And we might be trying to get someone that is more
I'll
than
fill it if there's a space available. If not, I'm completely cool with it.
So we may be trying to get DJO on.
Oh my god, that'd be incredible.
On High Republic Wave 2, but that's a long way down the road, and there's a lot more stuff has to happen before that. Just because, like, getting in touch with them. Whatever. But thank you guys all for joining us. Yeah, and we'll see you next week on They Fly Now. We'll be talking about Emperor Palpatine. May the Force be with you.
Always.
May the force be with you.